All right, do you guys see my screen yet? Or I didn't share it yet. Let me see. Do you guys see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you see my screen. All right, nice. All right, and we are ready to rock and roll. We're going to talk about fun stuff today, macronutrients and how it can help you get healthier and also better results than ever before. Who's excited?
All right, let's get this started. I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody. And if you have questions, just feel free to unmute yourself. Cool, so we're gonna get started today. We're talking about macronutrients. What are they? How can you use this information to get better results? So learning about this is a skill that you're gonna be able to use to manage your weight and body composition for forever. Really important stuff. So macros versus calories. So macros contain calories. Calories are still king when it comes to weight loss, weight gain, anything we want to do with our weight. However, calories only paint part of the picture. So what are the macronutrients? Macronutrients are fats, proteins, and carbs. Here we got some examples of these. And a lot of times there are some things that are pure by way of fat, like oil would be a pure fat. Butter would be a pure fat. There are some things that are pure proteins, most like chicken, things like that, like chicken breast for the most part is a pure protein. It's going to have a little bit of fat in there. And then there are some things that are pure carbs, like something like grits, like that would be just about pure carbs. They have a little bit of proteins and fats, but not much. Most things have a blend of them. So every gram of fat contains 9 calories. So fat is the most calorically dense macronutrient that there is. So, but fats are also important. They help with brain function. They're vital for hormone production. So the body has to have fats. We have to have them, but just know that calorie-wise, they are the most expensive nutrient that we're taking in. Every gram of fat, 9 calories. So every gram of oil is 9 calories. Every gram of butter is going to be 9 calories. So that's why it's so easy if we're not paying attention and we're cooking with oil that we can have hundreds, if not thousands of calories that add up super fast just by way of that, okay? So carbohydrates, every gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories. Carbohydrates are essential for the body's fuel. It's the quickest form of energy. Your body breaks all carbohydrates down into glucose to be used by the body for energy. Okay, so bananas, different things like that are going to be carbohydrate sources. Next one up is going to be protein. So fats and proteins are essential nutrients to your body. You have to take them in. You have to take in fats. You have to take in proteins. So every gram of protein is 4 calories as well. So the deal, and protein is essential. You need it for building, maintaining lean muscle tissue, muscle recovery. You need it for all that stuff. The difference with carbs is your body doesn't have to take in carbs because your body can convert fats or proteins into carbohydrates. Okay, now carbohydrates are protein sparing in that your body is going to use carbs for energy before it will use protein if your body needs that protein to rebuild muscle tissue. Hope that makes sense. Guys, feel free to ask questions anytime here. So the macros broken down into calories again are fats, 9 calories, protein, 4 calories, carbs, 4 calories. Okay. So just a breakdown I wanted to show you guys just in reading labels. So I've talked to you before about making sure when you read the label of something, we're looking at what the serving size is, how many grams it has in there, and most importantly, how many servings per container. Because they can get really tricky with you on labels and be like, oh, this only has 100 calories, but it's got 500 servings in it, right? So you're like, oh, I'm doing good, but you just took in 10 servings of something, right? So on this label particularly here, it shows it's got 240 calories. So it's got a little math breakdown, and we'll go through that a little bit more. Again, each gram of fat, 9 calories, gram of protein, 4, carbs, 4. So break down on the next page. Let's do the math. So 37 grams of carbs times 4 calories a piece is 148 calories. 5 grams of protein times 4 calories is 20 calories. And then 8 grams of fat times 9 calories is 72. So all that adds up to make that 240 calories. Does that make sense? Thumbs up on that? Cool. So I want you guys to understand the math on that. And so why track macros? Macros can help highlight quality. So it's going to help you balance out your food choices, help you reach your goals, help make sure you're taking in enough protein, you're preserving, building muscle mass, losing weight, improving overall health. So a balanced diet consists of all 3 macronutrients. So it ensures you're consuming enough carbohydrates, protein, and fat while fueling your body properly with the right amounts. So the typical American diet is mainly fat and carbs and pretty low in protein. And this results in weight gain and obesity. All right, that is the typical American diet. And typical American diet macro distribution. So ton of carbs, bunch of fat, very little protein. So very easy to take in an excessive amount of calories and gain weight. Super easy. So most people in the typical American diet are overfed and undernourished. So that results in an unbalanced diet. So adult obesity has increased, and these are just some side fun facts for you guys. Adult obesity has increased by 60% within the last 20 years. Trends for childhood obesity are even worse, having doubled for children and tripled for adolescents during the same time. And 1/3 of American adults are now considered severely overweight or obese. So this is why it's super important that you guys are learning these skills and understanding how to track your numbers. All right, knowing your numbers is so important. I want to pound that into you guys, because once you know them and just get this skill of tracking down, then that's going to serve you for the rest of your life. Okay. So why does that happen? Because we're eating foods that are more energy dense and take up less room. So we talked about that a little bit when we went through the volumetric eating. So we've essentially over time replaced the whole nutrient dense foods like vegetables, things like that, with processed low nutrient dense foods, which take up less room in your stomach so we can eat more of them, and they have very little value nutrient dense wise. So all the processed stuff you see in the picture there, we got the Twinkies, we got the Cheetos, we got the Starbucks coffee probably that has 500 or 1,000 calories in it. We can take in all that stuff so easily, and most people are just unaware of what they're eating. They're unaware of how many calories what they're putting in their body is. And so going back just to the calories for a second, you could technically only eat donuts and still lose weight because calories are king. But however, how are you going to feel for the rest of the day? Because if we're looking at what is a donut made up of, it's going to be some fat, it's going to be some carbs, very little protein. So how would your energy and focus be for the rest of the day if you took in a donut? How would your focus be? Probably not so good. So would you have enough protein to repair and rebuild the lean muscle that you need from your workouts? Probably not, right? So, and this goes back to also like foods. There's, not good foods, bad foods. Foods all have macronutrients. They all have fats, they all have carbs, they all have proteins. Now, a donut has more calories and less nutrients. Salad has less calories and more nutrients. So viewing food as healthy and unhealthy makes it feel like certain foods are bad and off limits. And I want you guys to be able to avoid that, avoid having to think about like, okay, I can never have this or that again, because once we say that, then we start to obsess about that thing. And then eventually it's just a matter of time before we do it, where we get to say, okay, I get to make the choice. Do I want to have the donut? I mean, if I do, sometimes it's worth the trade-off, but just knowing if I have a certain amount of calories that I'm going to take in a day, that's going to take up a big chunk of them. And do I want to make that trade-off? Sometimes if you do, cool, but if you don't, you can find other options that have less calories, but still satisfy that same craving for you. So it's not that donuts are unhealthy. They just have more calories and less nutrients than salad, and that's totally fine. So eating donuts in moderation, don't expect the donut to leave you full and satisfied. Just don't. One little old donut packs a bunch of calories and it's not going to do much, especially if you're hungry. Expect the donut to be calorically dense, tasty AF, okay? Super easy to overeat. And don't expect the salad to taste like a donut. Expect it to be lower in calories, higher in micronutrients, and leaving you full and satisfied. Now, if you have the salad like I make it, I mean, it's as good as donuts. I'm just saying. That's my salad if you haven't tried it yet. All right, so learning lifelong skills. So understanding portion sizes, understanding the trade-offs, understanding that when we are in a caloric deficit, we want to make trade-offs for foods that are larger in volume, lower in calories, so we still feel full. Because there's probably nothing worse than being on a deficit, getting to the end of the day, being out of calories and being hungry. That just sucks. And that's not something that can be done sustainable. It will only be a matter of time until you get the efforts, decision fatigue sets in, and we have a blowout. So we want to avoid that by making good trade-offs. So learning the ability to understand the quantities of energy, calories you're consuming, because we're terrible at estimating how many calories we're taking. It's been proven again and again in studies. And we're even more awful at estimating how many calories we burn. So we tend to dramatically underestimate what we're taking in and dramatically overestimate what we burn. Okay, so I've done this before. I played this game. I'm like, you know what? I want to have this deal, all these brownies. It's like 2,000 calories, but I bet if I just get on the stair mill, I'll work that off real quick and then I'll eat it later. Well, I got on the stair mill and I was on there for an hour and I'd only burned like 200 calories. Dang, that doesn't work, does it? So it's a big eye opener. So most people underestimate calorie intake. Research shows that 50% of people actually consume 1,000 more calories a day than what they believe. 50% of people consume 1,000 more calories than they believe in a day. All right, this is research proven. So the little bites, the licks, the oils, the things like that, when I think about 1,000 extra calories. So that can be all the difference in your results right there. All right, but that's not you guys, because you guys are tracking and measuring everything accurately. So we know that none of you guys are in that boat.
That's why eating out is not accurate.
Right, and that's why eating out, you're guessing. Because just like we talked about before, the dude in the back, he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
Yeah, Derek.
He wants you, I'm looking right at Derek as I'm saying this. He doesn't care. He wants you to come back, man. He wants you to come back. So the nutritional awareness you guys are gaining from tracking macros is a skill that no one can ever take from you. And I'm just going to keep pounding it into you guys, because knowing your numbers is always a good thing. I don't care if it's in business stuff, Derek, knowing your numbers for business, you know, that's essential and critical. You have to know your numbers. You just have to. And so this is the same thing with your body. We are taking in every day, we are taking in units of energy, these calories, and you can either, I don't want to think about it, but it's happening. No matter what, it is happening. So we could do the same thing with finances. The whole, like, I just don't want to worry about it. I'm just going to keep spending and it'll be fine. Right? That might work until it doesn't. Right? So same thing. It's just, do you want to increase your level of awareness, take ownership for your body, what's going in there, and actually be able to control the result accurately, taking emotion out of it. All right, so macro cheat sheet for you guys. This will be, we're going to post the recording of this, but here are just kind of some pure protein sources. We've got chicken, turkey, egg whites is pretty much going to be a very pure protein source, only protein. Some other ones in there, fat-free cheese, extra lean beef, turkey bacon. And then we've got some more like kind of more pure carb, bread, rice, grains, cereal, pasta, oats, corn, vegetables, potatoes, fruit, sugar. And then some that are on the like just fat, avocado, butter, egg yolks, oil, ghee, olives, flaxseed. These are pretty much all pure fats. And then we have the overlaps here of things that have protein and fat, whole eggs, salmon, bacon, most cheese, nut butters, and then some things that have all of them in there. So complete salads, protein bar sandwiches, protein smoothies, whole milk, and then some that are just fat and carbs, like fried snacks, chocolate, ice cream, cake, and then some that are protein and carbs, beans, sprouted grain, quinoa, most yogurt, skim milk, quinoa. So yeah, just a little cheat sheet for you guys there on that. So macros can make it easier to plan ahead. So if you know you need to take, for example, you need to get in 150 grams of protein in a day and you struggle with that, you could break that, and you know you wanted to do 5 meals in a day, then you could divide that 150 by 5 and know that you needed to hit 30 grams of protein per meal. So as you're planning out your meals, it can make it easier to hit that amount if that's something that you struggle with. And planning ahead is always a good thing. So what's the best macro distribution for you is going to be the one that's semi-balanced and the one that you can stick to consistently for the long term and make it a lifestyle change. So the one that makes you feel good, and this is what we're here to help you find throughout this process as well. Okay, that's why we go through different phases. We start with calories, and we have calorie and protein target, and then we kind of get to play with flex calories as far as, you know, if you have your set number of grams of protein, you have your set number of calories, then you get to kind of play with, do you want to add in more fats, less carbs, or more carbs, less fats? So, and that's where you get to choose, you know, are you a person that likes bread more, or do you like peanut butter more? You know, do you prefer having more carbs or more fat? You know, you get to make those trade-offs. Ultimately, we're just helping you develop the skills and tools to make those informed decisions. All right, so questions from you guys. What did you learn this week? How will you apply it? So Q&A, go ahead and just shoot away. Anyone have questions? Just feel free, go ahead and unmute yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Chris. Chris Groupie, what have you learned so far, man? What have you learned since we've been going through this? About your numbers. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Well, I've learned that I'd rather eat more carbohydrates than fats. That fills me up a little better. So I like to eat melons and fruits during the day instead of other junk I could eat. So
that is cool, man. Yeah, so just to give you guys, like, and there's no like one right way as far as meal plans are concerned. It's the way, ultimately calories are king. So when I very first started learning this process, I was very much keto, and that worked for me, and I saw really good results with it, but it kind of boxed me in the sense too that I was scared to do anything else. And the thought of, because when I first started learning this, I was taking in over 200 grams of fat a day. Over 200 grams of fat, my carbs were really low. And then the thought of taking in more carbs, I was just so scared. I was like, no, I'm just gonna gain a bunch of weight if I do that. But now, like Chris was talking about, I get to eat more volume of foods by having my fat lower and my carbohydrates higher. So now I take in on average 50 grams of fat a day and closer to 400 grams of carbs. So, and that's just me, because I get to eat more food that way. It's purely for that reason. All right, Derek, what have you learned, man, since we've been tracking numbers?
What have I learned? I mean, I've been eating, I eat pretty healthy myself, normally. What have I learned? The new girls that I've been dating have to pretty much be on the same level as me, exercising and eating correctly. And so, like, normally these few girls that I've been dating recently, I tend more to more of the fitness women than girls or women that I would normally date. I mean, we see more, we're counting calories, we're more or less more active.
That's great, man. I'm so happy to hear that you're looking for somebody that's going to bring something to the table and that's going to cause you to step your game up. versus, you know, somebody that you have to lift up all the time, right?
Right.
That's awesome, dude. I'm really glad to hear that. It's freaking awesome. All right, Brittany, what have you learned?
I've learned that I can actually eat a lot of food and stay within my calorie count. So I'm really awesome. Like, I'm really excited about that. There's some days where I don't reach the 1,200 calories, but since I've been working and my work days either are as early as 4:30 in the morning or 5, but I've been, as long as I eat breakfast, I'm sustaining throughout the day until I can get lunch, and I just feel better. Like I said, through our messages, like my face is slimming, like I'm getting
I
rid
can
of
see.
chubby cheeks. So, and I'm
That's freaking cool.
not losing a lot of weight, but like from how long I've been here, I'm pretty much on track. So I'm really happy about that. And I mean, I have my ups and downs. It's a roller coaster, but yeah, I'm just really excited. I can actually get a full plate of food that is really good and healthy food and colorful food, and
Yeah.
that it, you know, I'm not craving those empty calories, whether it's beer or soda or candy bars. And Susan,
great.
that, and Trammy, you posted that that Atkins. That's probably one of my favorites. If I crave chocolate, it's like that, like Susan said, the payday kind of.
Susan does that all the time
Yeah.
too.
So some days, if I'm just craving it, I'll just go to convenience store and just buy one of them, and it's really good and low calories. So yes, I'm grateful for all the tools y'all have given me so far.
Awesome.
Looking awesome.
And just
I've also learned, Brittany, to eat it slower.
Yeah. Yes.
No way.
savor it.
Exactly.
All right, so just a reminder on that. I'm glad you touched on that. Just again, to always remember that weight loss does not happen linearly. It just doesn't. It doesn't happen. There's so many other factors that come into play that are going to fluctuate weight. Water weight can fluctuate as much as 7% in a day. You know, just like I was telling you guys before, my weight will fluctuate as much as 15 pounds. Like from the time I wake up, I weigh about 222. After my workout, I weigh about 217. Before I go to bed, I weigh like 235. So my weight is that far all over the place throughout the day. So just know like that fat loss will happen linearly. If we're doing our numbers, we know what numbers we're taking in, but weight loss will not. That's going to be all over the place. So just know it. All right, Susan, what have been some of the biggest takeaways from you?
Well, I've just learned to get my protein in every day. And then I just sometimes play a little bit with the fats and the carbs, knowing that, you know, it's got to balance out. But like yesterday, I had less carbs, but I had more fat. And then today, I'm going to have more carbs and less fat. And the other thing that helps me is tonight I will plan out my food for tomorrow, so that I can make better decisions. And then if something comes up that, you know, somebody goes, oh, hey, let's go do something, for some reason I'm able to adjust better. So then I won't eat my dinner quite the same or change things up or whatnot. But for me, pre-planning helps.
That is great. That is great advice. Really good advice. So yeah, guys, pre-planning, using the hacks of MyFitnessPal, especially once you find like a good meal or a good day, you can literally copy paste that whole day. And if you have a plan in place, when you plan your next day before, a lot of times that can really help when it comes to decision fatigue setting in, because if you don't have a plan, you're tracking as you go, and then you're like, oh, what do I have left? And then you're hangry and it's at the end of the day, and you're just like, F it, and it's whatever. Right? So if you have a plan in place, then you already know, okay, boom, here's what I'm going to do. And then if something comes up and you need to make some modifications, you can do that much easier. So that's really, really good insight. Michael Keener, What have you learned, man?
Um, well, this past week has been a little crazy, but I've learned with getting back into my into the good habits of eating and tracking everything down. Um,
Can
that
you put your phone closer to your phone? Can't hear you that well.
can you hear me now? Is that a little
A little
better? Yeah. Um, Pretty much I learned that with this week being crazy and I was working out of town. Um, I've learned that with my getting back on track, eating, getting the right foods back in, um, my body's getting back to working the right way, how it's supposed to work, having the energy, um, not feeling sluggish, um, and making sure I get all my water in every day too. Again, uh, and cutting back on the bangs as well, because I was drinking probably like 2 liters of water and like 5 bangs a day, and now
Wow.
I'm down. Now I'm down to like 1 bang and about a gallon to a gallon and a half of water.
Good.
So just pretty much getting back to the basics has been pretty good. So
Awesome. Very cool. Proud of you, dude. So that's another good point is guys, make sure you're drinking enough water because a lot of times we can mistake thirst for hunger. So if you don't, like I have, these are my 2 water containers. I try to go through 2 of these a day out of this. So get your water, and especially now it's freaking hot, it's humid, and if you're working out, you're sweating a bunch. All right, Michael Day, are you there? Michael Day, you with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What have you learned so far? What have you learned from starting to track your numbers?
Well, that when you track it, you're actually able to see where you've been. Kind of put the roadmap together. You look at what you're going to do through the day and plan the day, and then after you get done with the day, you look back and see where you messed up, or maybe where you did better or worse. And most of the time, it just keeps you more accountable to yourself, because I'm finding that I don't have the hunger because I do drink the water, and I'm finding that I don't run into those obstacles as much as I did at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I felt like I was prior. I just felt like I was ready to give up the day because I was so mentally and physically I just wanted to go to sleep. But now I've got energy, and the bad part about it is I have to make myself go to sleep because I've got enough energy with all this extra metabolism I've kicked into gear that, if I don't make myself just go to bed, that's my biggest challenge I've got right now. It's kind of like, I don't need to be up till midnight. So anyway.
That's great to hear, Michael. Freaking proud of you, man. You're doing awesome. All right, Luis, what have you learned, man? What have been some nuggets, takeaways?
Yeah, so what I learned is carbs are good. They're not as much as fat, and I could get fuller a lot more. And a cup of fruit it's a lot of food and with little calories. And I learned how to make enchiladas that are all protein, so that's pretty cool just by using some of the ingredients, like the 0% fat. So I mean, everything fits within the calories, which is pretty awesome. So I'm having a whole dish of like enchiladas right now, and it's all protein and non-fat Greek yogurt and 0% like fat-free, cream cheese, and then just egg whites. So I mean, it's pretty cool. So it's really set me up for better success, because yeah, you're right, it gets to a point to where you get in the evenings and then you get tired, and you're getting close to your calories, and then you're still hungry, and then all of a sudden you just get the epic and you just continue eating. You know what I mean? So but yeah, it's been really good just kind of switching that from a fat base caloric plan of like keto, where it's all fat and proteins and no carbs, to something more that, hey, I could have carbs and not gain fat and feel better and eat till I'm full. So that's what's been really nice. So
Cool, man. You're crushing it, dude. Thanks for sharing.
Anytime.
All right. Dusty, I know you hopped on a little bit late. We were talking about what we've learned by way of understanding and learning your numbers. That's something you've gotten really good at since you've started with this. So what have been some of the biggest takeaways you've learned from tracking your macros, tracking your numbers, and how it's changed your body?
Well, certainly tracking in and of itself has been a learning experience, and it's challenging to, because I like to eat a lot, and it's been challenging to look for things and the way to modify recipes that I like to bring them down within the macros that I've got. And so right now I am working on bringing in more plant-based protein, which typically means some more carbs. So playing with readjusting, tweaking, I guess would be the right way to say it. For me, I find that having carbs in the morning, it does not work for me. It leaves me hungry. So I do protein and fat. I mean, I do have some carbs, like for lunch, I have either a salad or non-fat yogurt with berries. But by and large, anything that would be more heavy duty carb, that's my evening thing. And my goal is to not eat at least 2 hours, maybe 3 hours before I go to bed, which is hard for us to do since we tend to eat later in the evening. So.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So anybody have any other questions? Feel free, fire away. Any other questions or any other trainings that you guys would like to see us present on? We want to make sure we're always bringing the most value possible to you guys. So anytime you have feedback, any questions you have, would love to add more value to you guys. Anyone have anything?
Hey, but what I was thinking was maybe like some different, like very low calorie type of stuff. Like, what are your favorites in terms of like low calorie deals, or maybe like quick low calorie meals that we can have, or stuff on the go? That might be helpful, because I know that when I'm always driving and stuff and I don't have things prepared, what can I do like in a pinch? Or like, small quick stuff that I could grab at like at a gas station or something like that, or like fast food restaurants or something. Or like, what are your favorite like low calorie snacks to have? I know those would be some cool things that I'd like to learn and then pass it on to my clients. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just quickly, like those little 50 calorie beef jerky, like those are really good. I mean, not on the go, but like the salad. I mean, you see the massive salad. It's like 1,000 grams of vegetables, all for it. And I have 6 Kim's Pops with them. They're 15 calories a piece. So Kim's Pops are awesome. They're like, they're kind of like tostadas / pork rinds is like the consistency of them. And like a regular rice cake, the plain regular rice cake is like 35 calories per deal, where a Kim's Pop is 15 calories and it's way bigger and they're freaking awesome. So you can get those on Amazon, Kim's Pops. I love those, and I eat those with my salad. And so the salad by itself, with about 1,000 grams of vegetables in it and 85 grams of trout, is like 400 about 400 calories for just massive salad. And then I have 6 of those Kim's Pops. That's 15, 30, 45, 60. That's 90 calories right there. So my lunch is under 500 calories, and 90 of those calories is the Kim's Pops, and the salad is massive. So I like to stack lower calorie, high nutrient dense foods in the first part of my day. My lunch is the same as my dinner. And then right after dinner, I have my protein pancakes. I have some of my goop stuff on them, and then I have the goop with Kim's Pops. And then I have a massive freaking protein shake after that. So my whole day is pretty much filled with low calorie, high volume type foods. So because just psychologically, I like to be really full before I go to bed. Not everybody likes that, but I like it. And so I've just been able to find a way to stack my day like that. And like the other day, that quiche that I made, it was like 600 calories. I put like 400 grams of egg whites, like 200 grams of broccoli, 100 grams of mushrooms, like 200 grams of zucchini, some cheese, 125 grams of chicken breast in there. And it was just ridiculously massive. And it was all like 600 calories for the whole thing. And that could have been like anyone that looked at it would be like, that's for 4 people. But no, I ate the whole thing. So yeah, just finding those lower calorie and just looking up volumetric recipes. That's another hack you could do too. Like Googling that, volumetric recipes is a good one as well. But yeah, you might, I don't know if you got to check out the last presentation we did on the volumetric eating, but we covered a lot of that in there. So you might want to check that one out because yeah. And then also Eat This Much has a lot of like snacks in there. What were you gonna say?
What's the goop that you said?
So that was just like a accidental creation that happened over time because I used to just have like one of my go-to meals used to be oatmeal with some cashew milk and some peanut butter and like a scoop of whey protein. And that was how it was. And then as I had different macro distribution numbers, I started playing with different amounts of protein in that, different amounts of carbs. And so it evolved into, okay, well, if I put yogurt in there, that's less calories and more volume than the scoop of protein. And then, so it just evolved and morphed into the goop that it is now. And so now it's 40 grams of oatmeal, 40 grams of grits, 5 cups of cashew milk, 1 cup of water, 15 grams of PB2 powder and cinnamon, dash of pumpkin spice, some granulated stevia, and then I mix that up and I cook it in the microwave for 20 minutes. And then I put
20 minutes?
20 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I put Walden Farms fat-free chocolate pancake and blueberry syrup in there and 800 grams of Greek yogurt. And then I mix it up and I let it sit in the fridge overnight. And the next day I eat it on my pancakes, and then the leftover part, I eat it with Kim's Pops. Super weird that I know all that. And I just told you all that, but it's been my go-to snack and I dig it. And I'm sure, because it's a big trade-off. It's like probably 1,300 of my calories in a day that I do that with, but it gives me an option. I have my dinner, which is a big dinner, and then my pancakes, and then my goop, and then my big shake. So it's just a massive amount of food intake, all in the evening time. So I'm literally like, when I get done, I can't do anything else. I cannot eat any more food. So the times where I would like be thinking about, oh, I could eat something else, I could binge on this or that. Now I've set it up to where that's just not possible. Like I'm so full, like doesn't happen. And I'm right at my numbers too, even when I'm doing a deficit. So I don't have to answer your question.
Hey, Rob, I think he was also asking about stuff on the go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what I've done before too is Chick-fil-A has a grilled chicken sandwich. It's 320 calories. It's 29 grams of protein, 36 carbs and 6 fat, and it has a little bit of lettuce and tomato on it. Of course, you don't get the fries, and you get a diet drink. And I've also gone to McDonald's. They have a grilled chicken salad. Right now, I don't know that all of them have it because of the COVID. They've kind of cut down some of their menu items, but you eat it without the salad dressing, and I think it's about 350 calories, and the grilled chicken's really pretty good there too. So, you know, if you're just on the go and you got to go someplace, most fast food places, stay away from Sonic. If you can get like a grilled chicken sandwich, you know, throw away half of the bun. I've done that before too, and just, you know, eating the lettuce, the tomato, the chicken, and half a bun.
Sonic will put it in a bowl for you too and leave off the bun. A lot of places will do that, but you were talking about like stopping at a 7-Eleven or something like that. Usually they may have like a cup size of cottage cheese, which will give you a lot of protein and not necessarily very much fat. You could, you know, even an egg, you know, if you've got fat to use, a lot of times they'll have boiled eggs. And I mean, they have a piece of fruit if you have enough carbs to do that. But a lot of things that we would normally think of, if we eat them in a portion size, then they're not necessarily too heavy duty. Even like a small thing of nuts, if you can find the smaller packages, it's not too much, going to give you a little bit of protein and fat to keep you from eating the dashboard. And but just some little things, but it's just a process of learning.
Awesome. Super helpful information. Luis, was that helpful? Luis, you there? You get frozen? I think Luis is frozen. All right. Anybody have any other questions? Awesome. You guys have an amazing evening, and I'll talk to you guys Saturday. I have a really, really good one planned for you guys on Saturday. So I'll talk to you guys later. Reach out if you need anything. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Hi, thank you.
All right. We'll see ya.